we're live now. We're excited to be doing this. This is Saturday Showtime with the Fourth Wall. We're starting a little bit early just to tech some new stuff. We're using restream.io for the first time, doing a live stream on both YouTube and Facebook. So we can get a sense of how we can engage with multiple platforms simultaneously. We're not going to actually start with any content until noon. But this is for us to get things checked and settled and make sure everything's working as we intend it to. So hopefully it's all going well. Seems like we've maybe got some stuff going on. We're getting Facebook going, I think. Hopefully YouTube is also coming through. So we'll see how it's going to go. I'm just going to yammer for a little bit longer while we go. And check a little bit of spotlighting. Hey, look, it's just me now. So this Saturday Showtime series is our way of giving ourselves impulse to create new work. And that's what we're doing today. It's also our way of uplifting other artists that we like. While we can't be at the festivals where we'd normally be giving people shout outs and calling out their work and encouraging people to go see more shows, as always, we're going to do it through our own platform. We get to do it here on Facebook and on YouTube. So I'm just filling time, honestly, for the next 3 minutes until we go live at our appointed time for anyone who's paying attention. We've got a few new things for you today. The whole show is going to run like a half an hour. So you can get back to your scrolling of today's exciting election news. The anxiety of the week and all the waiting for counts to be finalized is over. If you're on social media, if you're on YouTube, you're probably not on those sites to see us specifically at this moment. And that's fine. Take care of yourself. Do your thing. We all need a little bit of that self-love, that self-care. Hopefully, once you've consumed your fill of the Associated Press, the New York Times, or any number of journals providing results, you can jump in and see some of our new content. Give yourself a little refresher of like, oh yeah, we can still create stuff. And that's what we're here for. We're going to be joined shortly by our friend Paris Crayton III, who's our special guest artist today, who will be presenting a monologue from his newest solo play that I'm pretty stoked to hear. So I think that's going to be a really cool element to today's show. I just changed my audio settings for anyone who's listening. You might notice a different sound because there's a lot of noise happening out my windows, from cheering to the random trumpet that is occurring and car noise. So lots of stuff happening. It's a very active time. Little did we know when we decided Saturday at noon, it would be the most interesting time of all November when we arrive in this moment. Hey, and here's Paris.
Ew.
Hello, sir. We're still just kind of vamping, getting started, but we're pleased to have you here as our guest.
No problem.
Did you get outside for a second to join
the Of course I did. It's probably why my voice is going away already.
Excellent.
Of course I did. It was, yeah, this is a proud moment.
Yeah. It's an exciting time to have things heading towards that final resolution.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still going from the top. I'm going to just, as you're getting settled, you can go ahead and mute yourself, or I can mute you. But Fourth Wall, I'm just going to check in. Did we successfully have 2 spotlights up? Hey, awesome. New tech is working. That's very exciting. We're down to the last minute before we get properly started, which is great. Looks like we've got about 25 seconds left. And it seems like all of our streaming stuff is working well. I'm pretty excited. Hillary, I don't know what that most recent text. Okay, that's fine. So there's going to be some spotlighting back and forth stuff. We'll see how it works with speaker view or dual spotlighting side by side. Not a huge deal. We're gonna make it happen either way. So it is noon. Welcome to Saturday Showtime with the Fourth Wall. That's me. I'm Greg, and then we also have joining us, of course, Hillary and Neil. The 3 of us are the Fourth Wall, and we are so excited to be here for our first in this series. It's going to be the first Saturday of every month, and it's our impetus to create new work and share new things. We're also joined today by our friend Paris Crayton III, who's going to be presenting some of his work, the monologue from his newest solo play, which we will talk about in a little bit. The first thing we're going to do is present a piece that I've been working on that I'm pretty excited to share. So I'm going to steal that spotlight back and just talk to all of you. So this new work, back in March, I was doing some recitals with the solo violin music of Johann Sebastian Bach, transcribed for vibraphone. That's my primary instrument. It's the thing I love doing, and I love playing Bach's music. But it felt kind of lame only concertizing and soloing with the work of a very dead white guy. So I was just like, well, I'm interested in this period, this kind of like Baroque, early classical period in music history coming from the Western European classical music tradition. Um, I wonder who else was writing in that time. Bach is often seen as like a monolith in this era. So I started doing some more research using resources like the Institute for Composer Diversity and Black Composers database. And I started digging into the music of Joseph Bologne, Chevalier de Saint-Georges. For anyone interested in a really cool perspective on Chevalier de Saint-Georges, Marcos Balter wrote a fantastic piece for the New York Times talking about him. He's sometimes given the terrible moniker of the Black Mozart, which is crap because he both predated Mozart, was much older, and Mozart was totally influenced by his violin writing. You can see this in several examples of after Mozart visited Paris as a young person, his violin style of writing really changed such that it looks a lot like Chevalier Saint-Georges' work. Now, Chevalier Saint-Georges, the most interesting person ever. He was born in Guadeloupe, eventually came over to Paris. He was born to a Black mother, white father, and his time in Paris was built around just extraordinary success and musical scholarship. He was a champion fencer, was called the God of Arms, led an all-Black battalion in the French army during the French Revolution, and wrote a ton of music. He was the head of the Concert d'Amateur, which is one of the premier concert groups in Paris in the late 18th century, and was also just a highly regarded violinist, conductor, and harpsichordist. So a man of many, many talents, so many talents. He wrote these really fun set of sonatas and variations for two violinists. So I've taken the first sonata and done a little vibraphone piece for it, playing both parts, and tried my hand at some new skills in video editing. So here's that piece. This is Joseph Bologne, Chevalier Saint-Georges, Sonata Number 1 for two violins.
Ooh, that was awesome. That was my first time seeing that. Yeah, well done, Greg. Woohoo! Such fun new technological tools and wizardry in this pandemic time, giving us some new ideas and fresh ways of showing what it is we do. It's my extreme pleasure to introduce you all, if you have not already met, our illustrious guest star, Paris Crayton III. Someone that we met on the Fringe Theater circuit, and an up-and-coming playwright, performer, just an amazing human being. So I'm really glad to introduce you to Paris Crayton, who has a monologue from a new work that is also going to be new to me in this moment. So, hey, Paris, how are you doing?
I'm
You
good.
got something to share?
I do. Picture it. Mississippi, 1921. You know what? Never mind. Don't picture it, because Mississippi is less than picture perfect. Let's just call it the state that didn't officially abolish slavery until February 7, 2013. My home away from home. That never really, my home that never really felt like home, you know? I was the second born son of Curtis and Gus Crayton. They gave me the name of the city my ma always dreamed of going, Paris. Now, Mississippi was no Paris. Mississippi was hard. Mississippi was the starting place of the Chickasaw Trail of Tears. But I was determined not to spend my life crying. I watched my parents make something out of nothing for years so that we could survive. And I planned on doing just that. You know, starting a family on my own. I wanted to build something that my son and his son could be proud of. A place to call home that wasn't filled with the hate like Mississippi. A home much like my parents had built for me. And there was always music in my house. And I took to it at an early age. I started singing in the church choir at the tender age of 6, but it wasn't until I discovered the blues that my love for music reached another level. It was then that I knew that you didn't have to use words to tell a story. No, from the instruments alone, I could tell if the artist was happy or sad or feeling blue. Now, don't get confused. Most people think that the blues and sadness is the same thing. No, you can be sad, but that doesn't necessarily make you blue. You know, the only time you're blue is when love is involved. A love that you lost, a love that you never had, a love that was almost yours, but somebody came along and snatched it up from you. I connected to this music because that was the question always in the back of my mind. I knew that when I found love, I would do everything in my power to not make it blue. I wanted a love that would be the color of my mother's eyes. Deep, dark brown that'll make Swiss chocolate jealous. I knew that I had to find a woman like my mother. Because no matter how often my father asserted that he was the head of the household, my mother always reminded him that she was the neck, and without the neck, the head couldn't move. You know, I wanted something like that. And the best way to find it was by necking myself. Oh, I did a whole lot of necking with a whole lot of women. Searching for a color other than blue. Searching for that brown, the rich as the Mississippi soil. Thank you. That was from my my newest one-man show called Bloodline. That I don't know when I'm producing it, but yeah. I actually just decided to do that because of what's going on now. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is a moment.
It's a moment.
For our viewers, we literally started the Zoom call before joining you all here on YouTube and Facebook. And the moment that Paris joined, you heard Sounds, commotion. You're in New York, and of course, there's something going on, and that is the moment that we all discovered there is some resolution at this moment,
Yeah,
this week
yeah.
of waiting. Paris, I want to ask you, not everyone that I come across in the theater world has their own affirmation and their own hashtag and their own way of sending joy into the world. Yours is one that I adore. Your hashtag is create
Mm,
your yes.
mm-hmm.
And this is something that I've really enjoyed seeing, on social media, or when we can see each other face to face. But yeah, 2020, this year, man, this is
Yeah.
the year that would challenge and has challenged everyone's most fervent affirmations. So I wonder, like, what does create your yes mean for you
Mm.
this year? What has that journey been like for you?
I think it's more relevant than even before, because this year, all of as an artist and as an artist that's based mostly in theater, our jobs are gone. Our jobs are gone. And I live in New York. There's no Broadway. In my adult life, I don't think I've ever been outside of a theater for this long. So this year it's more relevant, because this year is definitely the time to create your yes. I love theater so much. So it's like, how can I still create this platform that I love, even though the world is pretty much shut down? And I've been doing that. So yeah, it's definitely something that I practice and I love and I say every day.
Yeah.
You know?
And you have a new campaign for yourself since your birthday.
Yeah, yeah,
Tell us a
yeah.
little bit about that.
Yeah. It's I'm on this journey of loving myself because of the childhood that I had, and growing up and not the greatest circumstances. I never really learned how to love myself. I was always seeking love from the outside. So now at the tender age of 37, I'm just on this journey of like, you know what? Every day I'm going to do something to make sure that I'm loving myself, and I think that's really important, because we often forget to just take some time just for us, just to love on ourselves, you know. So I'm excited about this journey. I've been doing something every single day, so I can, at the end of the night, I'm like, you know what? I'm proud of myself today, and I think it's very important to take that on.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and one thing that self-care, that's a term that some people sort of, aren't real comfortable with, but
Hmm.
self-love, self-care, it's not just about ourselves. It is that we are then able to share more of ourselves with each other, and self-care
Exactly.
is mutual support, and I
Hmm.
love, seeing you share that
Yeah.
with the world in your way.
Hmm. Yeah, they say you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So it's like, fill yourself up, and then you can share. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because it does sometimes people feel like it's a selfish thing. I mean, you're thinking about yourself, you're being selfish, and it's like, all right, you can think that, but in this moment, I have to take care of myself, because if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't be the positive, inspiring person that I normally am. So I'm doing this so I can come out and inspire others to do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in it together. And
Yeah.
uh, some of us fall into the trap of giving and then forgetting about ourselves, and then
Mm-hmm.
some fall into the other extreme trap of, uh,
Mm-hmm.
focusing. But of course, we're all renegotiating who we are and who we are to each
Yeah.
other. And this year has been a journey in so many ways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's next for you? Where do you see you and your work and your yes taking you?
So next, after this is the last solo show that I'm writing. Well, the last theater piece I'm writing for a while, because I'm making the journey into TV and film. I love theater. I always make the joke, like, I'm leaving my baby behind just for a second. I'm going to cheat just for a second so I can just go, so I can provide for the household. Because as we know, as artists, there's not a lot of money in the theater. So I'm leaving theater to focus on TV and film, but I am excited because Beth Marshall in Orlando. She's doing another show as a Zoom play that I wrote called The Birth of an Artistic Director, and that premieres next week on the 13th. So you can see that November 13th through the 30th. So I have that theater piece, and I'm working on this one-man show, and then I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break from writing plays, and just saying that is something I never thought that I would say, but I have to focus on another medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we are today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Paris, thank you for being here.
Of course.
Thank you for sharing this moment with us.
Of course.
Exciting times.
Yeah, really exciting times. I wish my grandfather was here to see it. That's why I did this piece to dedicate to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, can't wait to see more, and
all right.
Can't wait to check out the show next week, and
definitely
onwards.
All right. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing.
All right, time for something I'm sure completely different. Hillary's going to, I think, introduce this next little ditty.
Oh, I thought you were doing it. Okay, yes. Hello, friends. We're gonna bring it back to a full trio piece, and we're going to show you a piece that we created for a fruit flies that we did in 2016 called Fruit Flies Like a Banana World Tour. This piece was set to represent the ocean, the water that covers most of our world here. And this is a piece by the Decemberists called Mariner's Revenge.
Find him, time to a pole and break his fingers to splinters, drag him to a hole until he wakes up naked, clawing at the ceiling of his grave.
It took me 15 years to swallow all my tears among the urchins in the streets. Until the priory, hurry and hire me to keep their best free, nice and neat. But never once in the employ of these holy men did I ever once turn my mind from the thought of revenge. Oh,
And now it's time for something even more different. This is a piece for solo trombone, using the text of a speech given by General Douglas MacArthur as its basis. And one of the wonderfully absurd things about this piece is that it really does take apart speech and the persona of someone who in life was larger than life and yet was still very human. And it does contain political thought and military thought, and this was a speech given to cadets at West Point. And yet history still remembers these people differently, and their words are remembered differently than they spoke them. And eventually they become sound, they become just, you know, ink on a page. And so this is a piece that's kind of about the transmutation of speech, no matter who gives it, but especially someone who is speaking in the public eye. So this is a piece called General Speech by Robert Erickson.
right, friends, we have one last piece we would love to share with you. Thank you so much for watching our first live stream for Saturday Showtime. Now my dog is whining. Good timing. Our next one will be the first Saturday of December with some more guests, some more new things we would love to share with you. So keep an eye on both Facebook and YouTube for that. And we would love to end with a piece that has grown quite near and dear to our hearts. This piece is by Alice Jones, and it's called The People Could Fly. The People Could Fly, the title comes from a African-American folk tale in which enslaved peoples from Africa remembered their ability to use their wings and fly. The choreography we came up with for this piece is inspired by the warmth and simplicity of this utterly beautiful piece of music that we have fallen in love with. So we hope you enjoy Alice Jones's The People Could Fly.
One last time, thank you all so much for joining us on this first of our Saturday Showtime series. I'm going to bring Hillary and Neil back on camera real quick, just for a final goodbye. We'll be back with you again on December 5th. That is the first Saturday of December, and we're excited to be bringing in some guests from our old lives in Indiana. So we've got some holiday themed stuff for you, a little bit of celebration to start December and the move towards the winter season. It's after Thanksgiving, so we're allowed to do that music, but I think we'll have a really great time. So again, from all of us in the fourth wall, take care of yourselves, indulge in some self-love, and allow yourselves to thrive this weekend and this next month. Thank you all so much.